I sat in the small Brooklyn cafe that used to feel like my safe place. The smell of roasted beans, the soft jazz, the chatter, everything felt normal, except for Lena sitting across from me with eyes that no longer looked like home. She kept touching the rim of her cup like she was scared to look at me. I finally asked, "Lena, what's going on? You said we needed to talk." She took a slow breath. "Ethan, please don't get upset." Her voice was too calm, like she had practiced this moment. "I don't want to hurt you." "Then why do I feel like you're about to?" I whispered. Her eyes finally met mine, and there was no warmth left. "Because I have to be honest. Marrying you would be settling." The words stabbed me deeper than I expected. I froze, staring at her, hoping I misheard. "What did you just say?" "Ethan, you're a good man," she said too quickly. "You really are. But I want more. I want someone who can give me a better life." "A better life?" I asked, my voice shaking. "We planned our future in this cafe. You said we were building something together." "I thought we were," she murmured. "But things changed." "What things?" I pushed. She hesitated only a second before saying the name I dreaded hearing. "Ryan Hale." I blinked. "Ryan? The Manhattan guy you said was just a friend?" She didn't even flinch. "He understands the life I want. He can offer stability, connections, opportunities you can't." "So this is about money?" I asked, my chest tightening. "It's not just money," she said. "It's ambition. He's already successful. You're still figuring things out." I rubbed my forehead, feeling heat rising behind my eyes. "Lena, I'm working hard. I'm trying. I thought you believed in me." "I did," she said softly. "But belief isn't enough anymore." "So you're throwing away 3 years?" I asked. "Just like that?" She leaned back, folding her arms. "Ethan, be mature. We both knew we wanted different things." "No," I said. "I didn't know that." "Maybe you did, but I didn't." Her voice dropped lower. "Please don't make this harder. I'm choosing what's best for me." "And what about what's best for us?" I asked. "There is no us," she whispered. "Not anymore." I couldn't breathe for a moment. My hands trembled on the table. "I loved you," I said. "I still do." She looked away. "I know. I'm sorry. Does he treat you better than I did?" I asked, even though I didn't want the answer. "He treats me like I deserve more," she said. "And maybe I do." I felt something break inside me. "So what do I deserve?" She hesitated, then said, "Someone more on your level." The silence after that felt like a funeral. I pushed my chair back slowly. "Okay," I said. "If that's how you feel, there's nothing left to talk about." "Ethan," she started. "No," I cut her off. "I hope he gives you everything you think you're missing." I walked out before she could answer. The cold Brooklyn wind hit me like a slap, but it helped me breathe again. I kept walking, turning corners without knowing where I was going. My legs felt weak, but stopping felt worse. When I reached home, Danny was on the couch playing a game. He looked up immediately. "Yo, Ethan, you look like crap. What happened?" I didn't answer. Danny stood. "Bro, talk to me." I shook my head and walked past him. "Did something happen with Lena?" he asked. I didn't trust my voice, so I just went to the hallway. My mom, Karen, stepped out of the kitchen wiping her hands. "Honey, you're home early. Are you okay? You look pale." "I'm fine," I forced out. She frowned. "You don't look fine. Did something happen at work?" "Oh, Mom," I said softly. "Please. Not right now." Danny crossed his arms. "Ethan, whatever it is, we can handle it together." I opened my bedroom door. "I just need to be alone." "Honey," Mom said, reaching out, "don't shut us out." I stepped inside and closed the door. The moment the lock clicked, everything I held in crashed out of me. I sank to the floor, covering my face. Her words kept repeating in my mind. "Marrying you would be settling, and each time felt like another hit to the chest. I whispered to myself, why wasn't I enough? My room felt smaller. My world felt ruined. And deep inside, something started to change. Something dark, something determined, something I didn't recognize yet. I sat there on the floor for a long time, trying to breathe through the storm inside me. Every memory of Lena felt poisoned now. The laughs, the promises, suddenly they felt fake, like I had been the only one who believed in them. Her voice kept echoing in my head, saying I was not enough. It hurt in a way I could not explain. But under that pain, something else rose, a small spark, a quiet whisper telling me to stand up. I didn't know if it was anger or determination, but it felt sharp and alive. And in that moment, I swore something inside me would never be the same again. I barely slept, but I still dragged myself onto the Manhattan subway. The ride felt longer than usual. Every time the train screeched, Lena's voice echoed in my head. Marrying you would be settling. I rubbed my eyes, hoping the noise would drown her words, but nothing helped. When I walked into the office, the bright light stabbed my already tired eyes. Mr. Reed looked up from his desk the moment he saw me. Ethan, come here for a second. I tried standing straight, but my hands shook as I approached. Morning, sir. He pointed at my fingers. What's going on? You look like you fought a storm. I'm fine, I lied. You're not, he said. Your hands are shaking. Your face looks drained. Sit for a moment. I'm okay, really, I said, trying to steady my voice. Take a break, he insisted. Get water. Clear your head. I can't have you collapsing on me. I forced a nod and walked away before he asked more questions. I went to the break room, filled a paper cup with water, and stared at the wall. My phone buzzed. I almost ignored it, but something made me check. I wish I hadn't. Right there on Instagram, at the top of my feed, were Lena and Ryan. Engagement photos. Matching outfits. Manhattan skyline behind them. Her smile was brighter than I had ever seen. His hand was around her waist like she belonged there. My chest tightened as I scrolled through the comments. Power couple. OMG, they look perfect. She finally found her match. I whispered to myself. Already? She moved on that fast. Someone walked into the break room, and I hid my phone too quickly. The cup crumpled in my hand. I tossed it away and rushed out before anyone saw my face. I needed air, real air, not recycled office oxygen. So I headed to the rooftop. It was cold, but the wind felt cleaner than the noise inside me. I sat on the bench, staring at the buildings below. Manhattan felt too big, too loud, too cruel. I whispered, "What did I do wrong?" My voice cracked. Was I that easy to replace? Footsteps approached, but I didn't look up. "Ethan," a soft voice said. I recognized it. Maya Torres. She worked in design, always quiet, always polite. I forced myself to breathe. "Hey," I said without turning. She moved closer. "You've been off since morning. Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said quickly. "That doesn't sound fine." I shrugged. "I'm just tired." She stood beside me. "You ran out of the break room like someone chased you." "No one chased me," I said. "Just needed air." Maya paused, then asked carefully, "Did something happen?" "No," I lied again. "You don't have to pretend with me," she said softly. "If you want to talk, I can listen." I let out a shaky breath. "It's nothing worth talking about." She tilted her head. "Is it about someone?" The question hit too close. I stared at the roofs below. "Everyone has bad days." "And you're having a really bad one," she said gently. I didn't answer. She sat down beside me, leaving a little space. The wind brushed her hair across her face, and she tucked it behind her ear before speaking again. "You look like you're carrying something heavy," she said. "I am," I whispered. She waited, maybe hoping I'd explain, but I couldn't. I couldn't say her name. I couldn't say settling. I couldn't say engagement photos. The shame in my chest was too thick to speak through. Maya sighed lightly. Sometimes people hurt us without thinking how deep it cuts. I swallowed hard. Yeah, something like that. She looked at me with quiet concern. Well, whatever happened, you didn't deserve to face it alone. I almost smiled at that, but the pain inside me didn't let me. Thanks, I said. But I'll be fine. You don't look fine, she said again. I laughed weakly. Is it that obvious? It is, she said. But it's okay. Everyone breaks sometimes. I nodded, staring at my hands. I just feel stupid. You're not stupid, she said. I feel like a joke, I whispered. She frowned. Why? I just do. Maya didn't push anymore. She just sat with me in silence, which somehow hurt less than talking. The wind kept blowing, carrying pieces of my shame with it, but not enough. The images of Lena on Ryan's arm burned in my mind. Her glowing smile, her perfect makeup, her proud posture, it all screamed one thing. She never looked like that with me. My heart sank deeper. Ethan, Maya said softly, whoever made you feel this way, they don't deserve you. I swallowed hard. Maybe they were right about me. No, she said firmly. Don't say that. I didn't reply. At that moment, shame swallowed the last piece of my heartbreak. I wasn't hurt anymore. I was embarrassed, defeated, humiliated. And I felt it settling in my chest like a weight I couldn't lift. I walked through Times Square with my hood up, trying to blend into the crowd. Bright screens flashed everywhere. Ads, movies, news, influencers, but one image hit me harder than all the rest. A giant digital billboard showed a couple on a yacht in Miami, laughing with champagne glasses. It took me a second to realize who it was. Lena and Ryan. I stopped in the middle of the sidewalk. You've got to be kidding me, I whispered. A guy next to me looked up and said, Lucky dude, huh? Ryan Hale has everything. I forced a smile. Yeah, everything. I pulled out my phone and checked Instagram again. More posts. Miami yesterday. LA today. Parties with people I only saw on TV. Comment sections filled with hearts and fire emojis. She looks so happy, I whispered to myself. Happier than she ever looked with me. I slid my phone back into my pocket and tried focusing on work. I pushed myself harder, arriving early, staying late, doing tasks nobody asked for. If I didn't keep moving, my thoughts felt too loud. Around noon, Maya knocked on the side of my desk. Hey, you eating today? I'm not hungry, I said. You haven't eaten since yesterday, she said. Come on. Just a snack. I said I'm fine. She crossed her arms. Liar. That almost made me smile. I just need to stay busy. Working yourself like this isn't healthy, she said, sitting on the edge of my desk. I'll survive, I muttered. Surviving isn't living, she said quietly. I didn't respond. I didn't know how. Later that afternoon, I went to make copies, and when I walked past the lounge, 2 coworkers were talking loudly. I didn't mean to listen, but one name made me freeze. Ryan Hale is trash, one of them said. Trash? The other asked. Everyone loves him. Yeah, until they find out what he did to his last fiancée. Dude cheated on her 3 times. I stopped breathing. No way, the second one said. I swear, the first replied. My cousin used to work at his company. Said Ryan treats women like trophies. I stood there, gripping the copies so hard they crumpled. If that was true, then what did Lena really walk into? I stepped into the room. Sorry, what did you say about Ryan? They looked surprised. Oh, Ethan. You know him. I swallowed. Not really. Just curious. The first coworker shrugged. Just gossip, man. But probably true. Guys like him don't change. I nodded slowly, pretending not to care. Right. Thanks. When I walked out, my heartbeat wouldn't settle. Cheated on his last fiancée? Multiple times? I tried shaking it off. Maybe it was just office talk. Maybe it meant nothing. But my mind wouldn't let it go. By evening, I went back through Times Square. The screens felt louder than before. People rushed past, laughing, taking photos, living their lives. Meanwhile, I felt stuck in place, trapped in the shadow of someone who didn't see my worth. My phone buzzed. I almost ignored it, until I saw the name. Nora Blake. I frowned. I didn't know any Nora. The message preview popped up. I think you deserve to know the truth. My stomach dropped. I opened the full message. Nora Blake, you don't know me, but I know Ryan. And I know what he did to you, and to others. If you're willing to hear the full story, message me back. You deserve answers. I stared at the screen, confused, scared, curious, everything at once. Who are you? I whispered. Another message arrived instantly, like she was waiting. Nora Blake, he isn't who he pretends to be. And Lena doesn't know what's coming. A cold shiver slid down my spine. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I typed. Me, why are you telling me this? Her reply came fast. Nora Blake, because I was in Lena's place once. And I paid for it. I don't want you to stay blind the way I did. I felt my throat tighten. What does she mean, paid for it? I typed again. Me, what did Ryan do? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then, Nora Blake, meet me tomorrow. Somewhere public. Times Square, under the red steps. Noon. I'll explain everything. I stared at the message for a long time. For weeks, all I felt was heartbreak. Then shame. Then emptiness. But now, something new crept in. Not hope. Not anger. I waited near the fountain in Central Park, watching the ducks glide across the water. My hands were shoved deep into my jacket pockets, my mind racing. I had agreed to meet someone named Nora Blake. I didn't know her, but her messages had been persistent, urgent. Finally, I spotted her near the path, holding a coffee cup and looking around nervously. You Ethan? She asked as she approached. Yes, I said cautiously. You're Nora. That's me, she said. Thanks for meeting me. I shrugged. You said you had something important. Let's hear it. She glanced around, lowering her voice. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Ryan Hale. He cheated on his ex-fiancée, Zara Quinn. Multiple times. I stopped breathing. What? Are you serious? She nodded. Every time. Lena doesn't know. She thinks he's perfect. I clenched my fists, trying to contain my anger. Why are you telling me this? Because I was in Zara's position. I saw what he did, and I couldn't let it happen to anyone else. Why now? I asked. Why come to me? Because Lena's making the same mistakes, she said, frowning. She trusts him blindly. She doesn't see who he really is. I sank onto the nearby bench. I can't believe this. I thought she made her choice, and that was it. But now, she's walking into the same trap. Nora leaned forward, her voice softening. Lena always felt insecure. She worried she wasn't successful enough, smart enough, beautiful enough. That's why she left you. I swallowed hard, my chest tightening. So she thought Ryan was better. That's why she threw me away. Exactly, Nora said. She doesn't know what's coming. But I didn't come here to talk about her. I came here to tell you the truth. I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath. And what am I supposed to do with it? Nothing, she said firmly. At least, nothing directly. Don't warn her. She chose her path. You, just live your life and stay clean of the chaos. I opened my eyes slowly. You mean, let her deal with the consequences herself? That's exactly what I mean, Nora said. You can't save someone who doesn't want saving. I sat back, staring at the fountain. The water rippled like my thoughts. Messy, swirling, impossible to control. I thought anger would make me act, I admitted. But now, I don't know. I feel pity for her instead. That's natural, Nora said. Anger fades when you see the truth. Pity comes next. And then, freedom if you let it. I nodded slowly. Freedom, yeah. We sat in silence for a moment. Children laughed nearby, joggers passed us, and the city moved around us. But I felt suspended in time, caught between heartbreak and clarity. After a while I asked, "So, what about me? What do I do?" Nora looked at me seriously. "You focus on yourself. Don't get tangled in her mistakes. Don't let her bad choices drag you down. Healing doesn't start with answers, it starts with distance." Her words hit me harder than anything Lena had said. Distance. I realized she was right. Lena had made her choice. I couldn't control it. I had no right to interfere, no power to fix what she had broken. I nodded again. "Okay. I'll stay out of it." "Good," Nora said, standing up. "You'll feel better for it, even if it doesn't make sense yet." I watched her walk away, her figure blending into the park crowd. I felt something shift inside me, not relief, not joy, but a strange calm, as if a storm had paused for a moment. I stayed on the bench a little longer, thinking about Lena. I remembered her smiles, the way she had laughed at my bad jokes, the quiet moments we shared in the apartment. And then I thought about Ryan. I pictured him charming her, whispering empty promises, pretending everything was perfect. My anger turned to a hollow ache, a pity so deep it almost burned. By the time I stood up, I had made my decision. I wouldn't warn Lena. She chose her path. She had made her choice freely, and it wasn't my job to intervene. I would stay silent, even if it meant watching the consequences unfold from a distance. I walked along the path, leaves crunching beneath my shoes. The wind was cool on my face, carrying the scent of autumn. My chest still ached, but the pain was different now. It wasn't raw and urgent anymore. It was quiet, like a warning, a lesson, a reminder that some things could never be fixed by words or anger. When I got back to the office later, Maya Torres was waiting near my desk. She looked up at me with concern. "Hey, rough day." I nodded, managing a small smile. "You could say that." She hesitated, then said softly, "Ethan, remember what I told you last week?" I raised an eyebrow. "What?" "Healing doesn't start with answers. It starts with distance." I froze, remembering Nora's words from earlier. "Yeah," I whispered. "I get it now." Maya smiled faintly. "Good. It's hard, I know, but it's necessary." I leaned back in my chair, letting out a slow breath. "It's necessary. She chose her path. I'll stay out of it." She nodded. "Exactly. Focus on you." And for the first time since Lena left, I felt like maybe I could. Maybe I could survive the chaos she had left behind. I was in the lobby of our office building, sipping black coffee and staring at my phone. Social media notifications kept popping up. I didn't want to check them, but I couldn't stop myself. Lena's face was everywhere. Smiling, posing, pretending. Only now, the smiles looked forced. Something in her eyes seemed tired, hollow. I muttered, "What did she get herself into?" Danny had called earlier. "Bro, did you see this? Ryan's partying in LA again. Lena isn't even there." I scowled. Figures. Maya appeared beside me, her eyes gentle. "You're reading the feeds again, aren't you?" "I can't help it," I admitted. "She's everywhere." "You don't have to be part of it," she said softly. "Remember what we talked about." "I know," I said, trying to focus. But the pit in my stomach didn't leave. Work became my refuge. I threw myself into projects, meetings, and spreadsheets. Mr. Reed noticed my dedication. "Ethan," he said one afternoon, "your work has been exceptional. I think it's time for a promotion." I blinked. "Promotion?" "Yes." "You've earned it. You've shown focus, intelligence, and perseverance. Don't let anyone distract you from that." "Thank you, sir," I said, a small spark of pride warming me. For the first time in weeks, I felt a tiny flicker of hope. The next afternoon, I was walking into the lobby, my mind on reports, when a woman approached me. She looked nervous but determined. "Ethan Walker?" I looked up. "Yes." "I need to talk to you," she said. Her voice was calm but urgent. "It's important." I studied her. She looked familiar, like someone I had seen in the news once. "Do I know you?" "My name's Zara Quinn," she said. Ryan's ex-fiancée. My stomach dropped. Oh. She took a step closer, holding a small folder. I need you to see this. It's proof. I frowned. Proof of what? She opened the folder. There were text messages, hotel receipts, screenshots of Ryan messaging other women while still engaged to her. He's cheating. Multiple times. He's already doing the same thing to Lena. I felt my hands shake. You're saying he hasn't changed? No, Zara said firmly. He hasn't. He's the same man who hurt me. And he will hurt her. I sank onto a nearby bench. I can't believe this. She left me for this charade. I know, Zara said gently. I tried warning people before, but they didn't listen. I can't let Lena go through what I went through. I don't know what to do, I admitted. Do nothing directly, she said. You already know she's walking into this. You can't save her. But you deserve to know the truth. I clenched my fists. It's like watching a storm approach. You can see it coming, but you can't stop it. Zara nodded. Exactly. I'm giving you the warning. That's all I can do. I ran a hand over my face. She looked so happy online, but now I see it was fake. All those smiles, pretending everything was fine. She's trapped in it now, Zara said. She doesn't see the real him. He'll break her the same way he broke me. I swallowed hard. I can't warn her. I promised myself I'd stay out of it. But it's painful to watch. Zara sighed. I know. That's why you have to focus on yourself. Let her make her choices. Let the storm play out. I closed my eyes for a moment, letting her words sink in. My heart ached for Lena, but I knew she had chosen this path freely. There was nothing I could do without betraying my own sense of boundaries. Do you regret leaving him? I asked quietly. Every second I didn't see the truth, Zara said. But I learned. Pain teaches lessons. He's toxic, Ethan. Lena doesn't realize it yet. I nodded. I see that now. The funny thing is, seeing this, watching him, I feel something I didn't expect. Anger? Zara asked. Partly, I admitted. But mostly pity. For her. For anyone who thinks he's perfect. For me. For having loved someone who couldn't see my worth. She smiled faintly. That's part of healing. Anger fades. Pity comes. And then clarity. I exhaled slowly. Clarity? Yeah. I think I'm starting to feel it. She looked at me for a long moment, then handed me the folder. Keep this. You might need it someday, if things get worse. But don't use it to intervene. Let her face the consequences. I understand, I said, taking the folder. Thank you. Zara nodded, then turned and walked away. I watched her disappear into the busy streets. I leaned back on the bench, the folder heavy in my hands. My life, in contrast, was slowly improving. My promotion, my focus on work, even Maya's quiet support, it all grounded me. I felt stronger, more certain. Meanwhile, Lena and Ryan were building their fairy tale. Or at least the version of it they wanted the world to see. But I knew the cracks beneath the surface. I could see the storm coming, and it made me realize something crucial. I was no longer the person who would crumble in its shadow. I wasn't helpless anymore. I wasn't blind. I could survive this storm they had chosen. I was sitting on my couch, laptop open, trying to ignore the constant ping of my phone. Social media had become my guilty habit, though I told myself I didn't care anymore. But tonight, the notifications were different. Videos were trending everywhere. Restaurant fights, screaming matches, shattered plates. And there she was, Lena, and Ryan. Their argument was brutal. Words like knives. Anger, accusation, betrayal spilling across the screen. People filming, laughing, commenting, sharing. Unbelievable, I muttered. She finally sees him. Maya's text popped up. Ethan, are you watching? I typed back quickly. Yeah, it's bad. I closed the laptop. I didn't need to see more. The image in my mind was enough. Ryan yelling, Lena's face red with frustration and hurt. Her smiles online weren't fake anymore, they were gone entirely. Hours later, a knock at my apartment door made me freeze. I wasn't expecting anyone. I got up slowly, chest tight. Another knock. Louder. I opened the door. Lena. Her hair was messy, eyes red and puffy, tears streaking her cheeks. Her lips trembled, but she tried to speak. Ethan. I stepped aside, motioning her in. Lena, what happened? She stumbled in, collapsing onto the couch. I grabbed a blanket from the chair and draped it over her shoulders. Sit, I said softly. Do you want water? She nodded, barely looking at me. I went to the kitchen, filled a glass, and handed it to her. She took it with shaking hands. Ethan, she started, voice breaking. I made a mistake. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed, keeping my expression neutral. Go on. Her sobs grew. I should have chosen you. I was stupid, blind. I thought I wanted more. But I didn't. I don't know why I thought I'd be happy with him. The storm inside me swirled, anger, old love, pity, new wounds all at once. My chest hurt, but I stayed calm. I wouldn't let her see me break. You finally understand, I said quietly. Do you? She nodded, tears falling onto the blanket. I do. I never should have doubted what we had. You were everything I wanted, and I threw it away. I handed her another glass of water. Drink it. You need it. She took it, staring down, not trusting herself to meet my gaze. I watched her, studying the face I once loved, now raw and exposed. I didn't know he would be like this, she whispered. I didn't see the truth. You mean Ryan, I said, voice steady. You didn't see him for what he really is. Her head dropped into her hands. I know now. I was so blind. I thought I needed someone flashy, someone more. I didn't realize I had everything with you. I let the words sink into the room, letting silence stretch between us. My pulse was steady. My heart wasn't racing. I wasn't desperate. Lena, I said finally, I can help you calm down. I can give you water, a seat, a safe place, but not my heart. Her head lifted, eyes wide. You're not angry. I shook my head slowly. I'm disappointed. And yes, a little pity. But I'm not angry in the way you think. I've learned how to protect myself. She swallowed hard, trying to steady her breathing. I underestimated you, didn't I? I gave a small nod. You thought I'd always be here waiting, that I'd take back what you threw away without question. You didn't realize I've changed too. Her hands fidgeted with the blanket, twisting it into knots. I'm so sorry, Ethan. I never wanted to hurt you. I don't even know how to explain it. Then don't, I said firmly. Actions speak louder than words. You made your choice. You lived your life the way you wanted. She whispered, almost inaudibly, and now I see what I lost. Yes, I said. You see. And I see something too, how much you underestimated me. You thought I'd break. You thought I'd fall apart. I didn't mean to, she said, tears spilling over again. I was foolish. I didn't know how much I had in you. I handed her a tissue. You know now. And maybe it will help you next time. But this time, it's not my problem to fix. She nodded slowly, taking a deep, shuddering breath. I don't deserve you. Maybe not, I said. But I deserve to protect myself. And I will. I've learned my worth, Lena. And you finally see it too, only too late. She closed her eyes, resting her head against the couch back. Her tears slowed, her breathing steadying. I stayed near, not touching, not offering more than necessary. I gave her space. I was in control now. Not my heart, not my mind, not my actions. The storm outside had followed her here, but inside me was calm. I realized for the first time how strong I had become. She thought she could hurt me, break me, bring me back under her thumb. She was wrong. And I sat there quietly, letting her cry, letting her see the consequences of underestimating me. For the first time, I felt a power I had never had before. I paced my apartment, hands shoved into my pockets. The city hummed below, lights flickering like a million tiny reminders of the life I'd lost. Part of me wanted revenge, wanted Ryan to feel the same emptiness I felt when Lena left. Another part wanted closure, wanted to hear her apologize fully and beg me back. But when Lena came to my door that afternoon, trembling and red-eyed, I said nothing. I didn't open my mouth. I handed her a glass of water, pointed her to a chair, and stayed silent. Her pleas fell flat against the walls of my resolve. "Ethan, please. I can fix this." "I can," she started, voice cracking. I shook my head slightly, not in refusal, but in quiet determination. No words came. She looked at me, bewildered, as if expecting me to crumble like I had before. I didn't. Later, I left the apartment, needing air, needing space, needing to think. I walked across the bridge into Manhattan, climbed the familiar steps to the rooftop where I often came when the city felt too loud. The wind cut across my face, and I closed my eyes, letting it slice through the fog of my thoughts. "You okay?" Maya's voice came softly behind me. I turned to see her, standing a few feet away, hands in her jacket pockets, calm as always. "Yeah," I said, but it sounded hollow even to me. "You don't," she said. "You've been carrying a lot." I let out a bitter laugh. "A lot. Maya, you have no idea." She came to me today, begging. I could see it in her eyes. She wanted me back. I said nothing. "That's progress," she said quietly. "Progress." I repeated, incredulous. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to demand she feels everything I felt. I wanted Ryan to pay. I trailed off, letting the words die in the wind. Maya stepped closer. "Wanting revenge doesn't make you weak. But holding on to it does. You can't choose her, Ethan. But you can choose yourself." I leaned on the railing, staring down at the endless grid of lights below. I don't know if I can let go. Part of me wants to punish her for leaving me. Part of me wants, I don't know, to be hurt again. "Peace isn't something people give you," she said softly. "It's something you choose." Her words hit me harder than I expected. I closed my eyes, feeling the wind whip through my hair, thinking about all the nights I cried alone, about the days I felt invisible, about the shame and heartbreak that had followed me like a shadow. "Choose myself," I whispered. "You mean, it's not about Lena, it's not about Ryan, it's about me?" Maya nodded. "Exactly. You don't owe her forgiveness. You don't owe him anger. You owe yourself freedom." I let that sink in, letting it fill the emptiness I'd carried for months. For the first time, I didn't feel frantic, didn't feel the need to prove anything. I just breathed. The city roared beneath me, but inside, I was calm. "I don't want her back," I admitted, voice low but certain. "Not Lena. Not Ryan. I don't want that chaos anymore." Maya smiled faintly. "Then you know what you need to do." "I need to get myself back," I said firmly. "The man I used to be. I lost him when I let someone else define my worth. I let shame, heartbreak, and betrayal take over. But now I choose me." She nodded again, a gentle approval in her eyes. "It won't be easy. Some days, you'll feel the old pain. But you'll survive it. And eventually, it won't hurt at all." I looked out over the city again. The skyline glittered, indifferent and magnificent. I realized that I had spent too long measuring myself against others, letting my life be dictated by someone else's choices. Lena chose Ryan. Ryan chose chaos. But I chose myself. "I'm done chasing someone else's version of happiness," I said. "I'm done letting my life revolve around them. I'll build my own. On my own terms." Maya stayed silent, letting me speak to the night, to the wind, to the city that had watched me fall and now, maybe, let me rise. "And the man I choose to become," I whispered finally, "is someone who knows his worth, protects his heart, and doesn't let anyone define him again." Maya's smile widened, just a little. "That's the man I've always known you could be." I let the rooftop air fill my lungs, let the night's quiet wash over me. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel heartbreak. I didn't feel shame. I felt control. I felt clarity. I felt alive. And for the first time in months, I felt like myself again. I walked into the sleek office building downtown, unsure why Victor Hale had asked to meet me. Ryan's father? The man I never thought I'd deal with. My gut told me something big was coming, but I didn't expect the clarity I was about to get. "Mr. Walker," Victor said, standing as I entered. He gestured toward a chair. "Thank you for coming. I think it's time you knew the full story." I sat down slowly. "The full story?" Victor nodded, leaning back. "You've been patient, watching from the sidelines. I respect that. But it's time you understand what's been happening behind closed doors." I frowned. "Go on." "Ryan," Victor began, voice low but firm, "has been involved in multiple fraudulent ventures. Unpaid debts, mismanaged investments, and affairs. More than you've been led to believe." I blinked. "All of it? While Lena—" Victor handed me a folder. "Proof. Bank statements, messages, hotel receipts. All of it is documented." He dragged Lena's name through this mess, knowingly, recklessly. And now, he's facing the consequences. I opened the folder. My hands didn't shake. I didn't feel triumph. Just calm. I scanned documents, screenshots of threats from creditors, letters from investors, and messages from women he'd deceived. Lena's name popped up several times, associated with rumors and false claims he made to cover himself. He tried to blame her?" I asked quietly. Victor nodded. "Publicly, yes. He said Lena mismanaged funds, suggested she leaked company secrets. His attempts failed. His credibility is gone. His company, collapsing. And I've disowned him. His inheritance is revoked." I leaned back, letting the words sink in. My chest didn't race. I didn't feel elated. I felt closure. Clean, sharp closure, the kind that doesn't need revenge, only patience and truth. "So he loses everything?" I asked, voice steady. "Yes," Victor said. "His lifestyle, his wealth, his influence. And he brought shame to his family's name. Karma has a way of finishing what people start. Lena, thankfully, is out of the spotlight. She's moved back to her parents' house in New Jersey. She's safe." I exhaled slowly. I never needed to do a thing. I just stayed out of it. "That's why I respect you," Victor said. "You chose the harder path. Patience, dignity, silence. Most people would have reacted. They would have intervened. You didn't. And it worked better than any action could have." I closed the folder, handing it back. I didn't want to feel like I had to. She chose her path, Ryan chose his. I just focused on myself. Victor nodded. "And now you see the result. Justice doesn't always need violence or confrontation. Sometimes, it's distance and patience." I leaned back in my chair, thinking of everything that had happened. Lena begging, Ryan falling apart, Nora's warnings, Maya's support. My chest felt lighter. I didn't feel vindictive. I felt free. Victor's assistant knocked softly on the door. "Mr. Hale, your next meeting is ready." Victor stood. "Thank you for coming, Ethan. Remember, the world moves fast, but patience and integrity will always be rewarded. You've handled this situation admirably." I nodded. "Thank you for telling me the truth." I left the office feeling lighter than I had in months. The city roared around me, indifferent and alive. But I felt untouched by chaos, untangled from the storms that had once consumed me. By the next week, my career was rising steadily. Mr. Reed had given me more responsibility, my promotion officially announced. Maya and I often shared late evenings on the office rooftop, reviewing projects, talking about life. Her quiet presence became a constant anchor in a world that had once been chaotic for me. "Ethan," she said one evening, leaning against the railing, "you're different now. Stronger. Calmer." "I had to be," I admitted. I walked through heartbreak, betrayal, everything, and came out without losing myself. Maya smiled faintly. Most people don't. They let the world control them. But you chose yourself. I looked at her, letting the gratitude sink in. I couldn't have done it without your support. She shrugged. I just reminded you of what was always there. You were always capable. You just needed to see it. I let the wind wash over me, thinking of Lena back in New Jersey. I didn't feel anger anymore, didn't feel heartbreak. Just a distant pity, like a storm that had passed. She had learned her lesson, Ryan had learned his, and I had learned mine. And through it all, I stayed untouched by chaos. Watching from a distance had given me something far more powerful than revenge. Closure without compromise, strength without bitterness, and a heart free from the weight of someone else's mistakes. I walked through the streets of Manhattan that evening, the lights reflecting on the wet pavement, thinking how strange it felt to feel so calm amidst a city that never sleeps. Lena's fairy tale had crumbled, Ryan's empire had fallen, and I had risen quietly, steadily, stronger than ever. I paused on the corner, taking a deep breath, smiling faintly. Maya's words echoed in my mind. Peace isn't something people give you. It's something you choose. I had chosen mine. And this time, nothing could take it away. The city had a different rhythm these days. It felt quieter, not because Manhattan had slowed, but because I had. Months had passed since Ryan's empire crumbled, since Lena had fled back to New Jersey, since I had stopped letting their chaos touch me. Maya and I had grown closer. It wasn't sudden or dramatic. It was quiet, like the slow settling of dust after a storm. She didn't push. She didn't rush. She just existed in my life, steady and reliable, the calm anchor to my once turbulent world. I was sitting on a bench in Prospect Park, sipping coffee and reading reports on my tablet, when my phone buzzed. The screen lit up. Lena Brooks. My chest tightened. I stared at her name for a long moment. The instinct to ignore it warred with a strange curiosity. Finally, I answered. "Hello, Ethan. Can we meet?" Her voice trembled, quiet, tentative. I hesitated. "Where?" "Prospect Park, near the fountain. Please." I didn't respond immediately. I felt a strange mix of curiosity and caution. I typed back, "Okay." 20 minutes later, she appeared. Her hair was pulled back, no makeup, eyes red from crying. She looked smaller, humbled, broken in ways I hadn't seen before. "Ethan," she said, voice catching. I need to apologize. I've made so many mistakes." I watched her, leaning against the fountain, her hands trembling. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I wanted to feel the old rush of anger, the sting of betrayal, but it didn't come. "Not anymore. I left you for someone else," she continued, tears streaming. "I thought I wanted more, bigger, better. I didn't see what I had with you." I nodded slowly, listening. My hands were in my jacket pockets, heart steady. The old longing, the old heartbreak, it had faded into quiet observation. "I ruined things," she said, voice cracking. "I hurt you, Ethan. I hurt myself too. And I regret everything." I leaned against the fountain, studying her face. It was familiar and strange, beautiful and vulnerable. I remembered the nights I had cried over her, the mornings I had begged myself to move on, the months I had spent rebuilding. She swallowed, trembling. "Ethan, is there any chance for us?" I closed my eyes for a moment. I felt no flutter, no hesitation. My chest was calm. My mind was clear. I had walked through storms, through heartbreak and betrayal, through patience and quiet strength. I had rebuilt myself from the ruins of their choices. "No, Lena," I said finally, voice firm but gentle. "No, there isn't a chance for us." She flinched, like the words had struck her, and I didn't soften them. "You didn't settle for me. You settled for regret." The silence stretched. She opened her mouth, started to speak, then closed it again. She stared at me, tears falling, understanding finally settling in. I turned away, walking toward the path that led to the Manhattan Bridge. Each step was deliberate. I didn't look back. The weight of old wounds lifted with every stride. The city's noise, the wind across the park, the distant hum of traffic, it all felt like music for someone finally free. Ethan, she called softly, but I didn't stop. I didn't respond. Maya had told me once, peace isn't something people give you. It's something you choose. Today, I was choosing myself. Choosing the man I had fought to become. Choosing freedom, clarity, and the life I wanted without the shadows of someone else's mistakes. I reached the Manhattan Bridge, the steel towers stretching into the sky, lights reflecting off the East River. The wind whipped through my hair, sharp and fresh, carrying away old ghosts. I paused, hands gripping the railing, looking down at the water, feeling the steady pulse of the city beneath me. I felt a smile tug at my lips. Not from joy or triumph, but from certainty. The certainty of someone who had faced heartbreak, betrayal, and chaos, and had survived stronger, wiser, and unbroken. Footsteps approached. I looked back briefly. Lena was standing at the edge of the path behind me, tears streaking her cheeks, shoulders trembling. She wanted words. She wanted me to feel the pain she felt. I felt none of it. I only felt clarity. I turned fully to the bridge, walking across, each step deliberate. The lights flickered, the river flowed beneath me, and the city carried on. Lena's presence faded behind me. I didn't need her approval, her forgiveness, or her love. I didn't need anyone else to define me. Halfway across, I stopped briefly, looking back at the skyline, at the city that had been witness to my rise and my fall, my heartbreak and my healing. I felt a wind of finality, a closing chapter that didn't require confrontation, that didn't require vengeance, that didn't require her at all. The man I had been months ago, the one who would have cried, begged, or hoped, was gone. The man I had chosen to become was steady, strong, and free. And for the first time in years, I felt no chains, no shadows, no regrets. I walked on, every step lighter than the last, feeling the bridge beneath my feet, the wind on my face, and the quiet strength of someone who had finally chosen himself. Lena faded behind me, and I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The past had its lessons. The future had its promise. I had chosen it for me. The city hummed around me, indifferent and magnificent, and I finally felt it. My life, my freedom, my choice. I walked on, fully alive, fully me.